Good morning. Welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morris. Another Monday morning out here in Phoenix, Arizona. Getting a little chilly, a lot of rain this weekend. I think we're dealing with a situation here in the workforce with the Mother Nature's against us. We've got a lot of exterior work going on, and it changes up what we're doing. How do we deal with this? How do we change? We adapt. We move, and we make things happen. We change the hours. We're on a middle of an office complex job that we're doing, and one thing we had to change was our start time. Instead of starting at 7 in the morning, we went to 6 and to 5, and now we're starting at midnight. We got lighting out there. We're working at midnight till 8 o'clock in the morning for our guys, 8:30 basically. We're trying to beat the traffic. We're trying to beat the people that are working inside these buildings. So we have an open space to work in. We learn, we adapt, we change to our environment. We change to what's happening. I had to change to my environment last week. I was invited to go speak at a breakfast thing with a bunch of business owner, a bunch of leaders, and it was a little bit different for me. Normally, I'm speaking to men and women that are trying to get back in the workforce. I'm speaking to men and women out of incarceration, off the streets, out of drug rehabs. I'm talking to the second chance movement people that are looking to get a leg up. And this was a little bit different for me. It was, I, I don't even know how else to put it, but it was different. Not my normal crowd that I'm used to speaking to. And so I had to learn to adapt and change to what I was talking about. And I basically started talking about the story of how I got into this, how I started the vocational program, how we started hiring out of the program called New Freedom that we work with. And part of that was talking about becoming a leader and how do we become a leader within our own organization, our own companies, and trying to get other business owners to understand that it's not always about the business that you're building. It's becoming a leader for the people under you. How do we define ourselves as a good leader? What defines a good leader or someone that is a mentor? It's, in my opinion, it's somebody that teaches other people to do the exact same. Me being a leader is teaching other people to become leaders. Me being a mentor is teaching others to become mentors. And how do we implement that in our day-to-day structure of work and life and what we're doing? I recently had someone call me up. This is a gentleman that's worked for me twice in the past. Worked for me for a while, went off, tried to start his own thing, didn't work out, came back, and now he went back again. And he's been doing it now for quite a few years. And he called me up and he goes, "John, I just want to meet with you once a month, maybe a Saturday morning. I could sit down with you for a couple hours and just talk and have you mentor me, talk about business, talk about different things. I want to ask questions." And for me, I look forward to doing this, but at the same time, as a mentor, we have to realize that everything we've done, everything we've created to get to where we're at, hasn't been a perfect picture. Us telling someone else how to do it might not be the right way for them. It might not be the perfect picture for that person. So how do we describe it for them to set forth on their own path, for them to create their own businesses or the structure within their own companies that they're building? And what I've come to realize is everything I've done, all the trials, the tribulations, the failures, the successes, that was created by me. I can give advice, but it's not going to be the perfect advice because everybody does things differently. I can tell this young man, here's how I think you should do it. Here's what's going to happen. Here's the scenario. But what if I tell him this and it doesn't turn out the way I explained it? Because his personality is different. His characteristics are different. How he runs his business is going to be different. He has to learn on his own. He has to make mistakes on his own. All I said to him was, I'm going to show you and teach you how I did it, what I learned from my experiences. And now he has to go off and learn from his own experiences and what he's going to do. My mentorship, my picture of what is a successful business for me is what's successful and the picture perfect for me. It's what I've done to get to where I'm at. To be where I'm at today is not going to be the right scenario, the right steps for the next person. They have to figure that out on their own. And they can ask me for advice. They can ask 10 other people for advice. But at the end of the day, they have to figure out what's going to be best for them. What is going to be the best solution? And they're going to make mistakes. They're going to learn from this, and that's how they grow from it. But that's also part of being a mentor, letting them know that this isn't the perfect picture. If you're going to be walking into a situation with someone as a mentor, well, this is the way you have to do it. This is what works. This is what doesn't work. And don't change the script. This is the recipe. You do it this way or else. It doesn't work that way. There is no picture perfect way to run a business. There's no perfect picture way to become the best employer, the best employee. You have to figure out for yourself what's going to work. You learn from watching other people. You learn from the guidance of other people around you. What are they doing? What's working for them? What are they doing that's not working? You learn from that. I can go into a situation, I can learn from the worst painter in the world. I can watch him and learn what not to do. I'm going to learn from those mistakes that person's making and think, oh, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to see what's going to work for myself. I'm going to see what's going to benefit me the most. And I might try a few things, it might not work. And then I'll try a few others, they might work. And as you grow from this, you learn. Hopefully, as a mentor, you're giving somebody enough guidance to where they don't have to make as many mistakes as you did. They're going to make mistakes, and you need to let them know up front that here's the deal. You're going to make mistakes, even with the guidance I'm giving you. There's going to be problems. That's just the reality of it. You're going to have problems. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn from it. Even the advice I give somebody, they're going to make mistakes with the advice that I give them. But that's part of growth. That's part of learning. That's part of embracing the failure and learning from your mistakes and growing from the mistakes. The best mentorship I've ever had was my own failures, my own mistakes. And that's what has to be taught as a mentor to somebody else. We need to guide people to become leaders as we have become within our companies. I teach all my guys that, you must mentor somebody in the company. As a superintendent, project manager, estimator, we become leaders. We become mentors. We're guiding the next group coming through. Hopefully they don't make the same amount of mistakes that we did, and we can teach them a little something different. But it's difficult when you mentor somebody. And today on a Monday, I've got a guy that didn't show up that I've been trying to mentor for about the last 5 months. And he's been doing very well. He's been staying positive, staying to himself, not going out there and causing problems. He's living in one of the halfway houses, and he bought a vehicle this weekend. Now, rumor has it he's been in and out of the halfway house all weekend. He wasn't there this morning when guys were waking up to go to work, and now there's an issue. I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, but obviously from experience, it's not very good. And if he recovers from it, he's going to recover fast. We're going to get this nipped in the bud within the next 24 hours and get him back on track, get him right where he needs to be. That's the goal. And I don't know the situation. I don't know where he's at or what's happened out there. All I know is he's not answering the phone. Nobody can contact him. Everything's going to voicemail. So what do? We wait for him to get in contact with us. We wait for him to hopefully pull his head out of his you-know-what and give us a call and say, hey, I made a mistake. I need help. Will you help me? And the answer for me is going to be yes, because he reached out. He asked for help. This is someone I'm mentoring. I'm trying to guide and get him going the right direction. So hopefully he reaches out in the next 24 hours and we can get him back on track. Get him down the path that he needs to be. It's not too late. The problem I see is a lot of people out there, and even business owners, employees, we all do something. And after we did it, we know it's a mistake. And we think, oh, it's over now. There's no fixing this. I'm going down the wrong road. I'm just going to keep going. It's not too late. You can reverse. You can change that. You can definitely get yourself going back the right direction. But you have to ask for help. You're not in this journey by yourself. No one said you're alone in this world. There is always somebody you can rely on, always somebody you can talk to. We make that very clear within our business, within our mentorship and what we do as a company. And as I'm speaking to this group on Friday at this breakfast function, and I'm trying to share a little bit of my story, and I only have a certain amount of time to do it. I could have stood up there and talked for 2 hours, but I only had a certain amount of time to speak, and I wanted to get the message across that we are in this to be leaders. We are in this to start training other people to become leaders themselves. We want everybody to stay on the right path. And how do you do that? We mentor, we guide, we become more than just a leader. We teach others to become leaders. That's part of growth in this business. That's part of growth in ourselves. as we hit the next level in our walk in life. It's you're not going to be a worker forever. You're not going to be a painter forever, or the low man on a totem pole. The helper moves up to becoming the tradesman. The tradesman becomes a crew leader. The crew leader becomes a superintendent, and so forth and on. So as we grow in this, we teach the next person below us. And some people think, well, I don't want them taking my job. I don't want to teach them too much. I've got to have job security. It's not like that. You're always training someone to take over your position, and you're always learning the next position. That's part of growth. That's part of life. And if we can change that mindset, it's part of rewiring what's upstairs in our head, because there's so many of us that we just get stuck in this way of thinking, or this train of thought that we have to do it this way. It's always been done this way. I'm not going to change. And we have to stop that. We have to start thinking outside the box. You've heard me say this before. For me, there is no box anymore. There's no box. I've crushed the box. We're not thinking outside the box. Everything is on the table. Everything's an opportunity and an option for us to move forward. So what are you going to do with it? You have to move forward, and you have to train the person below you to take your position. Always be training the person below you to take your position. I'm telling you right now, if I had 100 employees just like me, we would be freaking amazing. It would be an amazing company. We would crush the competition. There would be nobody else out there like this or like us. So I'm always trying to train people to become more like me, I want people to level up. I want you to step up to the next level. I want you to become something better. That's the plan in this journey. So we train the people below us, and we're always learning the next level above us. You never have to worry about, well, I might not have a job. I'll be out of a job if I train them. It's not going to be like that. There is so much work out there. I can't walk out of any business and throw a rock as far as I can and not hit 10 places that are hiring right now. It's just a fact. There's so much work out there. You can't not get a job right now, especially in construction. Be willing to get your hands dirty and get out there and work. Don't be afraid of a day's hard work. And I think that's a problem with today's society nowadays. Everybody's scared to go out there and do a hard day's worth of work. We think we're worth more money than what we're really worth. And that's where we have to change our mindset. We have to rewire what's upstairs and start thinking about what we can do for ourselves and how we're going to make it. It's that beast mode mentality, it's that stay hungry mentality. You have to constantly focus on bettering yourself and doing better. Don't be afraid to get out there and just push and grind. My whole life, I've been pushing and grinding for something more. I've never pushed as hard as I have my whole life, like I did when I was younger. I would do anything to get that job. I was hustling out there to land every paint job I could. I wanted to get everything. I wanted to make the most money I could. And I'm telling you, the end reward is worth it. When I look back at where I was and where I'm at today, but that doesn't mean I'm not working just as hard today. The difference is the workload today isn't so much physical as it is mental. And now I'm working twice as hard mentally than I ever have in my life. Twice as hard as I've ever worked physically hard. And there's some days I go home from work after a mentally draining day, and it is 10 times worse than a physical day that's just kicked my butt. It's all how you look at it, where you're at in life. You're constantly grinding, you're constantly moving forward. And even as I'm grinding and moving forward, and it's become more of a mental fatigue than a physical fatigue with work, you still push, you still grind. You just don't take the foot off the gas pedal. You're constantly moving forward. You're constantly doing what it takes to make something better in your life. You have to focus what's in front of you. We can't change. We can't slow down just because we're making a little bit more money or the job gets a little bit easier. We have to push harder to become better. Don't quit. Don't quit on yourself. Don't stop. Keep moving forward. That's the goal. The second you take your foot off the gas pedal, you start to push the brake a little bit. The second you slow down, the second you take it a little bit easier, you're just asking for problems. That doesn't mean now that I got more time now, evenings and weekends for myself than I used to, because I used to physically work all the time. I was out there hustling. The business has grown to a point to where I have people in place to where I don't have to work the weekends anymore. But the mental game, oh, it's brutal. There's some days it is so brutal. I can't do it anymore, but I have to because I can't and I quit is not part of our vocabulary. You cannot say I quit, I can't anymore. You got to nip that out of your vocabulary, kick it to the curb. It's not part of who we are anymore. We are going to rewire what's upstairs. We're going to rewire our brains, our minds to think positive, to think we can do it and nothing's going to stop us. Rewire it so that I can't, that I quit is no longer in your system. And once you can get that out of your system, everything starts to change. It amazes me what you can accomplish. You're going to start to see a change in your life when you get rid of that I quit, I can't mentality. That rewiring what's upstairs to get rid of that will change your life. It's going to happen so fast you won't even realize it's happening. And you're going to look back and say, holy crap, how'd I do this? And it was one simple thing of getting rid of two words, can't and quit. Get rid of can't and quit, and everything starts to change. You know, look up the definition of can't or I quit. And everybody has their own version of what that definition is. I think for me, I quit means I'm stopping. I'm not going to do this anymore. I give up. I'm weak. What else can we do? I can't. Am I really that weak? I can't do something. You know, I don't think we realize physically what our bodies can do. It's our mind that stops us from doing it. I think physically we can do anything. It's our mind that makes us weak. And that's what we have to rewire. If we can rewire ourselves mentally to believe that we can do anything, I guarantee you anything becomes possible. It's a mindset. That's all we're changing. It's what's upstairs. It's rewiring the whatever is up there that's connected that tells us we can't do something or tells us we got to stop doing something. It's that doubt on your shoulder. It's a devil on your shoulder, whatever you want to call it. It's basically you versus you that has to change. You have to change the mindset of whatever is not working within your head. That can't quit. Get it out of your vocabulary. Get it out of your mind. Just push it out. Every time you start to think, oh man, I can't do this, I want you to think back to this podcast, listening to this, and tell yourself, I have to change. I have to make a difference. I want to change for the better. And doing that, I'm going to be better for my job, for myself, for my family, for everything around me. I'm going to be better at helping the people around me. I'm going to become a better leader by getting rid of I can't and I quit out of my vocabulary. And then you start to be more self-aware of what you're capable of what you can really accomplish. Then you become more self-aware of what kind of leader you're becoming without even realizing you're becoming a leader. I've become a leader over the years without even realizing what I was coming into, what I was creating for myself. Every day I was out there hustling. Every day I was pushing forward. I was trying to become something more, something better, to create a better lifestyle for my family, financially, mentally, emotionally. You know, it's interesting when I look back and I look at where I'm at today, and I if someone asks me, well, how'd you get here? I don't know. It just happened. But as I start to look back and think about it, it started with the very first rule of my life. You're only on time if you're 10 minutes early. And what does that truly mean to anybody? Being 10 minutes early sets a tone for everything in your day. It sets a tone for everything in your life. It will change everything. I want you to start being 10 minutes early. That's rule number one. You're only on time if you're 10 minutes early. Make that just the number one focus of your life for the next, I don't care how many days, weeks, months it takes. If you can start to live by that, that's the first rule that's going to change your life. And don't tell me, well, the world's against me, I can't do it. Dude, the world's against me every single day. But I keep pushing back and I keep punching. Every time the world punches me in the gut, I'm punching back twice as hard. You have to push. You don't quit. You're not allowed to quit anymore. You have to keep grinding and pushing forward. So as we look back at our lives and our journey of what we've been through to bring us to where we're at today, maybe just sitting here listening to this podcast, you know, we think about everything we've done to get to where we're at and all the struggles, everything. And sure, sometimes we look at our lives and we think, man, the world's just kicking me every single day. It's knocking me down. It's pushing against me. And we have to keep pushing back. We have to become stronger. We have to learn from everything that life hits us with. And as we go through this, hopefully we learn from the things that are happening and we make better decisions as we progress in our lives, as we move on, whether it's in our personal lives, whether it's in business, whether it's as an employer or as an employer. We have to learn from everything that's presented in front of us, everything we've dealt with through our lives. If you can't learn from it, if you don't learn from it, what good are you doing? What happens as you continue through your life and you continue dealing with these different obstacles and you make the same mistakes over again? You're making the same unwise choices. You've got to make wiser choices. You got to make the right decisions. And you're not in this alone. You can have somebody on your team, on your side. You just have to find the right mentor. You have to find the right person there. And you can have a mentor and they don't even need to know that they're a mentor to you. You're looking at them, you're listening to them, you're learning from them. That's the goal for you to get forward in life, to learn. I look back and I look at my life and what I've been through, and my father was never there for me. He didn't teach me anything. He wasn't part of my life, and it's unfortunate. But I look at what I went through and who was a mentor in my life, and it's a struggle for me to even look back and find somebody. You know, was there at least a sports figure or a celebrity or watching someone always pushing harder? For me, growing up in Illinois, where I grew up, we watched the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. I was always amazed at the drive of Michael Jordan, what he pushed himself through and what he continued to do and push the limits and push the people around him. He was a leader that created more leaders by pushing the people around him to become better. And even as each one of those people on the team, the teammates, went off to do their own thing, they're still great leaders in their own right. But it takes one to push and one to get everybody to get motivated and to move forward. And within our company, if we can have multiple people like that, not just myself, but the project managers, the superintendents, if they can become equals in leadership as myself, then we become unstoppable. We become something bigger and greater than anything that's ever been built out there before. Because now we're all like-minded. It's, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's a bunch of mini-me's. It's everybody doing the exact same thing for the greater good of the company and for the greater good of what we're creating here for ourselves. We want to create a company that we have a job for the rest of our lives, that we all grow from, that we can continue to make more money as the business grows. That's the purpose of this. The purpose in this company, in this business for me is, of course, to make more money, but also to create more jobs, to uplift more people, to give them that second chance that they never had before. And watching them flourish and watching them grow. I had a guy on my podcast about a year ago, Fred Santor, great guy, still working for me, doing phenomenal. He's been in a halfway house. He just moved into his first apartment on Friday. He spent probably 17 years behind bars, and he now has his very first apartment he's ever had, and he's doing successful for himself. He's doing a great thing. He's living there, and his girlfriend's living with him. They've been together for many, many years. She stuck with him through all his time in prison, everything he's been through. She's always been there for him, and they're now creating a better life for themselves. And for me, it's like, what can I do to help him? Not only watching him grow, watching him get somewhere in his life and do something better, but I went online and I made sure I got a cooking set, utensils, coffee maker, a knife set. I made sure he had everything they needed for their kitchen so they can provide for themselves. And this morning I brought it to work, and it was a great housewarming gift for him for his first place. And it's going to make life easier for him. That's what a leader does. That's what you need to do to help those around you. It's when you have something good and you've gotten to where you need to be, it's now time to help the next person get there as well. It's not about, being younger, I used to think the person that dies with the most wins. That doesn't mean I stop creating more and building up material wealth and financial wealth as a person or as a family to create more to pass on to my grandkids. But it also means to help those around you to get to where you've gotten. Make it easier for the next generation. We talk about making it easier for our families and for the next generation, our grandkids. I don't want them to struggle like I did. So I want to create that generational wealth within my family. It's the same thing with the business. It's creating something generational for people within this business to have more, to have a better opportunity than the people before them had. That's what we're in this to create. And once we learn that, everything starts to change. Your personal life changes. Everything within every aspect of your life is going to change, whether it's personal, business. Once you start doing positive, once you start helping others, everything changes. But when you're in it for just yourself and you're in it for the negative reasons and you're not worried about anybody else and you'll step on anybody and everybody out there to get what you want, nothing is going to go your way. It might look like you're making it, but eventually the walls are going to come crashing down on you. I've seen it time and time again happen to many people. I've seen a lot of people come through this company that wanted more, took the opportunities, and then decided they had what they wanted and they took a shortcut. The shortcut is not going to work for you. Do not take the shortcut in life, in business, in anything. If I'm in this and I just want to make the most money I can, get in, get out real quick, it's not going to work. If I take the hard traveled road to success, it's worth everything in the end. If I give every employee of mine $1 million today so they could buy a house, do whatever, they would never appreciate it. They would never respect it because they didn't earn it on their own. It's no different than when you work hard for your money and you go out there and you buy something. Let's say you buy that new toy you want, that new car, new something. You worked hard, worked your ass off for it, and you spent all your hard-earned money on it only to have it taken away because somebody stole it from you, or you were in your car, you got in a wreck and somebody ran a red light and now it's totaled. The feeling of that loss, it is so huge. It's totally different than if something was just given to you. If someone just gives you a Christmas present or a gift or gave you a car or gave you a house, it means nothing to you. Yeah, you appreciate it. Yeah, it's great. I got this. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean the same as if you worked your fingers to the bone to earn it. That's what it means to have what you want. The enjoyment, the excitement from that, the meaning that it gives you, the feeling inside that it gives you is worth everything. It's going to be worth more than that $1 million. I guarantee it at the end of the day. That's what this life is about. It's earning what you can and doing it on your own and giving it all it takes. Now, when I say doing it on your own, that doesn't mean you don't have help along the way. That doesn't mean you don't have mentors. You have to have people in your corner. If you don't have a social support group or a social network that supports you, that's on your team, that's helping you build better, then you need to find one. Find a group of people that are like-minded. Find a group of people that are going to help you get to where you want to be, that are in your corner, that believe in the things you believe in, that support you the way you support yourself. If you don't have a significant other, a husband, a wife, family, somebody in your corner that's supporting you, then get rid of them. You need to have people in your corner that are going to support you in what you're doing. If you don't, it's going to be difficult. You're not going to make it as easy as if you were having a huge team behind you. Perfect example is Michael Jordan. He couldn't do it on his own. He had to have a team, and he pushed them to become better. That's what a team does. That's how we react to situations. We push people around us to become better, and we grow together. He could have never done it on his own, and that team, they could have never done it without him. It took a collective to make it happen. That's how this works. That's the same in business. That's the same in life. In our family and our personal lives, we have to have a team, a support system, a family that's working together as a cohesive unit to create a better life for ourselves. In business, we need the perfect team. We got to create that perfect team. And if you have somebody on your team that's toxic, that's not working, you get rid of them, you kick them to the curb. You can't do it. You have to have the team that's going to support you and be on your side. Become the leader that you were meant to become. I appreciate every one of you. I thank you for joining me and listening. Like and subscribe if you enjoy listening to this. We'll keep putting out new content every week. Stay hungry.